Good morning, everyone. It is March 8th, 2018. I try to make videos showing the sign of the times and, all the things that happen on a daily basis. While I do miss some of these things, of course, because I'm only one person, but I try to pick out all the things that are seemingly the most important of that day. And here is another sign of the times. Richard Dawkins says we should get over our yuck taboo against cannibalism. And we have seen this move to popularize cannibalism over the last, 8, maybe 10 years. It seems like a lot of things over that period of time have become popularized, such as being a tranny, such as being a homosexual, such as being a sexual deviant, pedophile. All these things that once were looked at to be very, very bad are now virtue. This one comes from the Fellowship of the Minds. And the reason I don't go to their website is because of their layout. And frankly, it's just easier to go to a website that posts all the news, or much of it, for that day. But it's a good website nonetheless. They make good write good articles. So, all right. This is by Dr. Eowyn, E-O-W-Y-N. I try to give credit every time I use somebody's article. Sometimes I forget, but it's Richard Dawkins. Okay, add another voice to the growing pop culture normalization of cannibalism. It's Richard Dawkins, 76, the celebrated British evolutionary biologist and rabid atheist who says there's nothing wrong about pedophilia and it's our moral duty to kill the mentally retarded. Well, shall we start with him? On March 3rd, 2018, referring to a news article in the Independent on lab-grown meat being on restaurant menus by the end of this year, Dawkins asks in a tweet if human meat can be grown and calls the taboo against cannibalism a knee-jerk yuck reaction of a rigid moral absolutism. Tissue culture, clean meat, already in 2018? I've long been looking forward to this. What if human meat is grown? Could we overcome our taboo against cannibalism? An interesting test case for the consequentialist morality versus yuck reaction absolutionism. Note, consequentialism is a school of thought that says the moral or morality of an action depends on the consequences it creates. A moral action is one that produces a positive or beneficial outcome. An immoral action is one that produces a negative outcome. Of course, what positive and negative mean are undefined. In other words, consequentialist morality is the end justifies the means. What is moral is what benefits me, aka moral relativism. I'm going to stop right there for a moment because I've been watching a video series by this guy. What was his name? Peterson. Let me look here. Okay, so I went to YouTube to find it. I find one of his videos so I could show you who I'm talking about.
I have with me Derek Pilot, also known as Some Black Guy. He's a popular YouTuber, musician, comedian, and gamer. And we're going to tell you what the game...
Okay, so anyway. Now, Mr. Peterson likes to pick apart people's morality. What is morality, anyway? Your beliefs of how you should behave, right? Or shouldn't behave. Well, what is wedlock? And the reason why I'm going to get into this is because a lot of people, in particular Christians, like to talk about having children out of wedlock. What is wedlock? Because to me, even though Elizabeth and I have never went to a courthouse and begged the government for a license to wed, does not make us any less wed than the people who do. And we have a child. So these constraints that people love to put on each other and themselves do nothing but hinder our progress. Now, is eating people progress? No, it's not, because that is regressive, not progressive. You regress back to cannibalism. So, and there's other things like drugs, for example. You know, he likes to talk about people who do drugs and how bad they are. Okay, some of them, they are bad. Some of them are. You know, like the people who inject heroin into their veins to the point of death, probably should consider those people, at very least, very, very, very sick. Right? I mean, they know that continuing to inject this substance into their body is going to eventually lead to their deaths. Just like people who smoke cigarettes or drink too much. But what if you do drugs without abusing them? Does that make you immoral? I don't think so. I don't think so. What if you have a child with a woman and you stay with her forever, for as long as you possibly can? You raise that child together. Isn't that wedlock? Anyway, I digress. Okay. Richard Dawkins decries our taboo against cannibalism as an unthinking, emotional yuck reaction, moral absolutionism, as opposed to the end justifies the means consequentialist morality he approves. What escapes me is the positive or beneficial end of cannibalism, and that's exactly what I'm getting at here. Dawkins, in his senile, demented, and demon-possessed mind, must think Kuru is, or to be, the positive end that justifies cannibalism. Note, Kuru, I'm going to go ahead and call it the human mad cow disease, is a incurable neurodegenerative disease transmitted via cannibalism. Here's a thought, Dawkins. Dawkins advocates, or Dawkins' advocacy of cannibalism itself may be a result and symptom of Kuru. In his book, The God Delusion, Dawkins wrote, "It seems to me to require quite a low self-regard to think that, should belief in God suddenly vanish from the world, we would all become callous and self-hedonist with no kindness, no charity, no generosity, nothing that would deserve the name of goodness. By his advocacy for pedophilia, killing the mentally retarded, and now pointless cannibalism, Dawkins precisely demonstrates the very callous and selfish hedonist with no kindness, no charity, no generosity, nothing that would deserve the name of goodness, of the world banished of the divinity. And we can see the decay of not just our society, but societies all around the world. I watched a video earlier, Scariest Movie Ever with KJ. And it is quite an old video, but it does really point to how sick and demented and insane some of the people are who live here in the United States. This particular video, there was clips of people who, let's say, did less than sane things. One of these videos included, or clips, I'm sorry, included two girls who videotaped themselves killing cats and dogs and torturing them. One of these girls had, horror makeup on. They look like somebody out of, say, what was that fucking movie? The Suicide Squad. That chick. Then it went on to other clips that, a Mexican lady crammed a crucifix down the throat of her daughter because she thought the daughter to be possessed. Now, if you actually ran across a demon-possessed person, are you right in killing them? I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know if demons actually exist. But if they do actually exist, then I would say that killing that person is the right thing to do, because their body and mind have been taken over by the demonic entity. Now, there's plenty of proof out there of people seemingly being possessed. I mean, we can see it in clips of Lady Gaga. We can see it in many, many clips of famous people where they just suddenly, their eyes roll in the back of their head and a whole new personality appears. But maybe that's split personality. Maybe they've been conditioned to have these different personalities. So, unless I see a demon entering the body of a person, I'm going to have to go with the more logical conclusion, and that is that it was an induced multiple personality disorder and not a demonic possession. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I really love being right. So I do my best to be right as much as possible. Thought I'd share this with y'all. I mean, it's just disgusting, the things we see taking place. Instead of progressing as a species, we are regressing, and it really is quite disturbing. And a lot of this, is promoted by politicians and state actors and others. So, I hope everyone has a great day. And remember, kill the state and live free.